You're on.
This is my memoir, The Wagamama Bride. I published it in 2021. It took 9 years to write.
Wow.
I began in Tokyo with this intention of writing a book to celebrate the life of my dear father-in-law and what he meant to me, and losing him in 2012. But as they say, life happens, and things started to snowball in such a way that it was very difficult for my children to grow up normal in Tokyo. And I was pretty much doing dandy there. If it was just me, I could be there forever. I love Tokyo. I speak Japanese. I had worked there as a writer, as an artist. I wrote for the Japan Times. I wrote for the airline magazines. I have many friends who are Japanese and from other Western countries. And I was growing. I felt like I was growing as a person spiritually through the influence of Chabad. Chabad came in the year 2000, and I felt as long as Chabad's here, and they're going to be in Tokyo till Moshiach arrives, so there's no problem that I had time to be there. But seeing my children, first one child and then the other child, I have two, suffered to the extreme, and writing letters to the Rebbe and getting answers to take them to Israel, it strengthened my resolve to do the impossible, to go to a country where I had no relatives, to go to a country by myself and start my life over at 57, 58 with my children. And one has, and thank God she's doing great, bipolar disorder. So I had to bring her in a very tenuous state, delicate state, to restart her life here. So it was, I don't want to say it was a gamble, because I knew that with Chabad and Hashem on my team, that it was
Anything was possible.
everything would be okay. I didn't come with an agenda, expectations. I didn't know where I was going to land, where I was going to live. But I knew when I got here in 2017, I'd been working on the book already for 5 years, and it wasn't ready. And one of the reasons it wasn't is because I didn't know how it was going to end. And when I got to Jerusalem, I thought, okay, she divorces and happily ever after. Now that's one side of the story, but how would the children do? What would their lives be after this wrenching them, uprooting them from the only country in existence they knew and brought them to Israel, rude, dirty, disorganized Israel, as my
exact opposite of Japan.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Individual versus community.
Oh, so they say. Yeah. But right. You're right on that count.
Which
My
way?
kids
Individual Japanese and communities Israel?
No.
What are you talking about? What do you mean individual versus community?
Individualistic, a Western idea
Oh.
that we have to assert who we are independently. I think what draws Japanese people to my system of art is it strengthens their independence, asserts who they really are, distinguishes them from everyone else through their creativity. And I've been teaching Genesis art in Japan since the year 2000. So, and I didn't think it would come. That was another gamble that I took when I left Japan. I thought, what's going to happen to Genesis art? And lo and behold, it continues. It's really wonderful. And it was kind of what Hashem promised me. Go to Israel. We'll take care of the details. And people ask me, is there a sequel to this story? Because I'm sure people are curious, well, what happened since the book came out? Well, you're here to ask the questions. Okay, so whatever questions you want, I'm really happy to answer them, and to say to say that my family is doing really well. I'm happily divorced from a man who I respect and who supports me and who's very grateful. He and his mother are very grateful that I took the children to Israel. Yes. When the book came out, he read it twice, and English is not his native language. Then he called me up and he said, and he bought me a pen. It's a beautiful pen. Nobody ever bought me a pen. Bought me a nice pen, and he said, "Can I republish it in
Japanese?
No. In AI didn't come along at that point. No, you just give me the data, and I want 500 copies in Tokyo." I said, "What are you gonna do with 5? You don't know 500 people who speak English." Don't worry. I didn't want it. Well, who would guess that a few years later, my son would return from Israel after his 3 years in high school. He'd go through several job transitions. He'd become fluent in 3 languages, Japanese, English, and Hebrew by the time he came back. And he parlayed his language abilities into a business as first a tour guide, then the tour guide who never could say no. "Dad, I double booked. You got to help me out. You got to do this tour." And he calls a friend. "You got to help me out. I'm triple booked." Now he has 20 part-time workers working for him.
So wait a minute, he's going back to Japan.
Pardon?
He's in Japan?
He's in Japan.
He's only 23.
Wow.
And my ex-husband works for him. And at the end of the tour, if they like the tour, he gives them a free copy of the Wagamama
Oh, that's so
since he happens to have a few hundreds lying around. So
That
this
is a very effective business card. You know from experience that books are effective business cards.
Right.
They are. It's his business card, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that it worked out this way. So there was a lot of surprises along the way, as you probably may have noticed. I chose not to go into places of darkness and negativity in the book, because we all have that. But my point in taking 9 years to write the book was to work through the negativity. This wasn't going to be a public airing, a public display of my
Marriage, laundry stuff.
Yes,
Right.
I wasn't going to do that, and it wasn't going to be helpful for me, for him, or for the kids. And I thought the kids have been through enough; they don't need that. And I thought also I want to be a grown-up. I want to show up. I want to show up on the written page as a grown-up. And so, part of this process was really clearing out, forgiving myself, forgiving him, and moving on in our lives in a gracious way and grateful way for the role that he played and still plays in our family.
Wait a minute, you said at the beginning that you came to Israel because the kids weren't happy in Japan?
To put it mildly, they were not thriving.
But he's back now, thriving.
My son is thriving there. He came back a different person. He came back with Israeli hardwiring.
What ages were they when you brought them
He
over?
was here from 15 to 18.
And your
That's all.
daughter?
3 years.
She came at 19 and she's 28 now.
Oh, funny.
And very, very different types of human beings, very
Of
different
course.
life visions, plans. He is the linguist in the family. He's just very good with languages, and has no interest in academics in college, which pissed me off.
But he probably doesn't
but-
need it.
I didn't
Not
have any-
everybody has to be an academic.
Yeah.
I know, but he kind
That's
of
how we want. That's how
he
we
led
do.
he led me to believe that he was going to apply to Columbia, but thank goodness he
Yeah.
didn't. Thank
But
goodness.
I applied there too.
You know what really amazed me was that you gave them Israeli names in Japan. You
Yeah.
gave them
Jewish.
Jewish names.
Jewish?
Well, I did that because my grandmother's maiden name was Hillel, and at that time there were no other Hillels being born, and that would have been the end of the name. And so I gave him the name in honor of the Romanian side of the family. And we were, even from the time I was pregnant, I knew I was close to Chabad, and I wanted the children to have Hebrew names. It was just something very important.
But it would make them stand out, and if they had stayed, it would make them different in Japan.
They would never pass for Japanese anyway.
Why not? They probably will, but they have.
No.
They look more.
My son can go into East Jerusalem, no problem, and nobody has any idea.
No, don't they have characteristics, Japanese characteristics?
Features.
Pardon?
Facial
Have
features.
Japanese, didn't they take anything from your
Yeah,
husband?
they do. And also my Uncle Graham, if it wasn't for the eyes, my son is a spitting image of my young Uncle Graham. And he never had children, so that's really...
I think she's asking, what you're asking is why weren't they thriving in Japan? They were brought up there and they were,
Yeah.
and even with your son, you say
Well,
even look
it's in
Japanese.
the
How come they
book,
weren't?
If you remember that...
Yeah, she just, that's what she wants to know.
Did you read the book?
Yes.
Okay. So
A long time
Yeah, we
ago.
read it a while ago.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
So if you may recall, my daughter was hospitalized
Yeah.
in Tokyo with bipolar disorder,
Oh, she's.
and I don't go into a lot of the details, but it's not like here where you have a chance to lead a normal life and
not
to
accepted.
find friends and integrate into society and to and marry and get your life on track. In Japan, it was a whole different script that we were heading
Everybody
toward.
has to be perfect there.
Pardon?
Everybody has to be perfect. Everybody has.
They're strict.
No, and people aren't
open.
anymore. And it's not that they have to be perfect, because everyone's... My
because
daughter's
I
theory, if you
read
could
in
let me
a
just
lot of-
finish, please. My daughter's theory is that everyone has something, but some people hide it better.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what she
good.
says.
That's
And
true.
she's very intuitive, she's very instinctive about this thing, and I totally agree. And Japan is a wonderful country with great traditions, and the young people have been forced to abandon those traditions on one hand, and technology has led them into leading very isolated, unmarried lives without children, lives
Yeah.
where you dress up the dogs, not
Yeah.
the children.
Yeah, they don't have-
You know,
no.
the dogs are in the baby carriages.
I know.
You're wheeling the dogs around, or the cats.
No, but I
Did your
read once.
Sorry.
I read once that kids, who didn't succeed in school, didn't want. They would. What they would? No, they would kill themselves. They would commit
It's
suicide
not-
because they
It's
didn't.
not even past tense. It's not past tense. But there are many, many more options now. There's, even when my daughter was in high school, there started to be all kinds of alternative schools for children who weren't fitting into the normal system. And we found at least 20 in Tokyo. We found wonderful. And my daughter did end up going to a fantastic alternative school. Even had connections with Israel. It was unbelievable. So yes, but it takes research. It takes parents' dedication. It takes money to find these schools and to vet them, make sure it's a right fit for your child. Some parents are in denial. They're so involved in their own lives they don't care.
Well, that's everywhere,
They
isn't
don't
it?
want
Yeah.
to,
That's
maybe
everywhere.
just
It's
like
not
parents
just in-
anywhere, they don't want the embarrassment of showing that their children are imperfect.
No, I wouldn't say that anymore. No, it's not. It's only my mother-in-law. And she's 89, God bless her. So she's, yes.
Could you talk a little bit about your relationship with the Jewish community there?
Sure,
Tokyo?
sure. And when I arrived in '87, there was the JCC, the Conservative Shul, the Jewish Community Center of Hillel, which was started by well-to-do merchants from Harbin, and it was started as a club, rather than more a club than a center for definitely not a center for Torah learning, but a Jewish place where Jews could
Get together.
get together. By the time I got there was an outdoor swimming pool, and the main activity was lathering up with lotion in the middle, the rabbi too, in the middle of the summer. It was a conservative shul, and there was revolving rabbis every couple of years coming, and the rabbis were not there to inspire. They were not there to mentor. They were not there to turn us on to Torah way of life. So over the years, I kind of drifted away as more of my original friends left Japan. After I met some wonderful people. I'm still in touch with one or two of them from the 80s. And in the 90s, I drifted away, and then in the year 2000, Chabad arrived.
And that changed.
And that was the game changer for me to be exposed to the happiness of Torah, the happiness of a Torah way of life. I thought, nobody ever told me that it could be fun and interesting and lively and stimulating, and there could be so much spiritual growth going on. Because during the 90s, I went in the direction of Eastern philosophy, Eastern spirituality.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say so much Buddhism in this sense of Buddhist practice. Zen Buddhism is meditation. So I went in the direction of meditation, and I was also enmeshed in this Japanese family where they did observe Shinto customs, meaning that coming of age day and children's ceremonies, age 357. There were certain ceremonies, but the way I saw them, they were photo ops. It was a chance to dress up in a kimono and go to a photo studio.
It seems to me in the book that those events were the kind of like those were like the things that caused you, like somewhere. That's the way I understood in the book. With like inside, you were like, wait a minute, like I'm drawing the line here. I'm not interested in going to a temple and doing naming thing there. And those were the things that kind of gave you the impetus to kind of push you more towards Judaism. Like that's the way I understood. Like you didn't really want that for you and your family because you're Jewish, so you would just turn to Chabad because that was just the place to turn to. And then eventually you got more interested. But was that what it was? Was it a reaction against the whole Japanese custom?
I knew when Chabad came, my feeling was, God sent Chabad to Japan for me to rescue.
No, because I didn't understand that in the book. I actually thought it was a very long process.
I think every Jew in Tokyo felt the same.
Wow. Okay.
I'm joking, half joking.
Right, I understand.
Everyone
How many
feels
Jews are
that.
Yeah.
in Tokyo?
Well, I
Like
would
living,
say
like married to a Japanese person.
there's several hundred of permanent residents, and but a lot of business people, teachers, academics, and researchers, and tourists. So thousands and thousands and thousands now. When I was there, maybe 1,000 tops, but now we're talking with so many Israelis. What, 5,000, 10,000? Do you know at Pesach, my Chabad, there are 2 Chabads in Tokyo. One Chabad fed almost 800 people on Pesach.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
I was in Japan every
During
took us
Pesach?
during
Which
Pesach.
rabbi did you don't remember?
Why no? They took us to Hawaii. It was a
Tour?
a group,
yeah.
a tour.
Well,
That's how they fill
my
up.
Chabad rents 4 halls to accommodate everybody.
Wow. It was huge. It was big. It was big.
An experience.
So, can you talk about the title of your book, The
Yes.
Wagamama Bride? Because it seems like the
I was gonna
definition
ask
of Wagamama is selfish.
Now,
And yet,
I was going to say that.
the Western idea of what it means to be selfish seems to be different than that. And how does that
That's
reflect
very
you?
ingrained in the Japanese way of thinking that if you don't follow the social norms, you're being selfish.
Selfish. That's
You're
But-
being selfish. If I'm not going to follow the Buddhist funeral rites of picking up the bones coming out of the crematorium,
Oy.
I'm being selfish.
Ah.
If I'm telling my kids they can't participate in sports day because it happens to fall on Yom Kippur, I'm being selfish. I'm only thinking about my religious needs and not what's going to happen to them in the future, how this is going to impact their lives if they don't fit into society. So I was doing things constantly to test or to I guess to irritate Ichiro, my ex, by doing things that were not conforming. But he is such a nonconformist. He's some completely nonconformist. He's always been a nonconformist. It's a big joke that he would suddenly, care about these things.
Maybe because his parents.
Yeah, but he's not his parents. He is.
Do you think, though, people begin to care when it begins to impact their children? So for him and you alone before they were children, there might be more flexibility. But once you have children, just like you saw yourself, you wanted to find out, how can you pass on this tradition to your children?
Right.
So then you had these two competing worldviews.
Yeah. So is there a question?
No, I'm just want to know about what's the
I'm
You
agreeing.
agreed. And then I have another question about your ex-husband. Did he ever fulfill his dream of owning his own clinic? I think that was his dream. And does he work as much as he worked? Does he work now as much as he used to?
He is employed full-time, 5 days a week, walks up to 20 kilometers a day he works for his son. He works for my son as a tour guide. And he loves it. And he's very, very good at it. He gets great reviews. And he's thriving. At 65 years old, it's like a new lease on
But his
on
English,
life.
you said his English wasn't that good.
Maybe in he
Well, it
doesn't.
seemed pretty good. It just was
Fine.
grammatically funny.
Grammatically interesting.
I love that.
But he,
Was that an
he
ing,
actually has a
IM?
very big vocabulary, and he's very smart, and he can express himself very well, and he's very well informed, and he's very sensitive to people's needs. That's all you need. It's more than enough.
Yeah.
More than enough.
Did he ever consider coming to Israel with you?
No,
That was
No.
part
Well,
of
what?
no way.
No way. Japan.
But he
was-
did come to Israel at some point.
For visits.
Oh, just for
Oh,
visits.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
It wasn't clear in the book if it was going to eventually turn into something, or it was. I didn't understand also if it was just
he hasn't
visits.
been in 8 years.
Ah, so
He
that's
hasn't
right.
come in. And I told him on the last visit, I think it's time for you to pay a visit and see where your daughter's living
Yeah.
and see her life. It's time you see. So hopefully this year he'll.
Wait a minute, are either of your children married?
No, not yet. My son's 23, which in
Youngster.
my family is really young. I know it's not here. And my daughter's 28, and she is seeing someone. So who knows? It's going in a nice direction. I can just say that.
And where does she live? Does she
With me.
in
Beautiful.
Where?
in Haifa?
Yeah, can I ask how did you get to Haifa after
From
being in
Yerushalayim.
Jerusalem?
Yeah.
Because in the book you're in Jerusalem.
That's right.
My previous landlady in Baka decided to sell the apartment after I did all these kind of cosmetic fix-ups that made it look really good. I planted a garden. I put bougainvillea and red rose bushes in, and I painted the gate. And
You made it
looked
saleable.
really nice.
And then she
And she
decided
sold
to
it.
She decided to sell it. Wouldn't give me a penny for any of the work that I did. And this is such a wealthy woman. It was just, people are mean, you know. People are, anyhow, that's another aside. But I decided enough with this rental business. I'm not renting anymore. I'm going to buy. And I was priced out of Jerusalem. I just couldn't afford it.
They say Haifa is like
Much
more reasonably
reasonable,
priced.
and so I could afford.
Where in Haifa do you live?
We're Hadar Elyon. We're in
Oh, Hadar Liane.
very nice
Elyon.
there.
Yeah, there you go. In the old part?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
On Ramban Street.
Oh, Ramban Street, I know it.
You know?
I used to live in Haifa. In Ben Dor. Actually, Ben Dor, just by Tel Hanan. And I used to go to Haifa all the time.
Yeah, I like it very much.
Did you learn Hebrew, or are you still mostly an English speaker?
I'm
Right.
an Opan serial dropout. I've done about 10 different Opans, and I have a decent vocabulary in it, but I can't spit it out when I need to say it. So it's in progress. And the other thing is I'm kind of guarding my Japanese. I don't want to lose, I don't want one word to go in, the Hebrew word to go in and the Japanese one to go out.
Yeah.
So
How did you learn Japanese?
well, slowly.
I mean, do they have like Japanese opans?
It's called
Yeah.
total exposure. Total exposure.
No, when I was in graduate school, I did a 4-point course, which is a lot. And, you know, usually it's a 3-credit course, 4 or 5 credits in Japanese.
Oh.
And so I got this immersion in Japanese. I almost failed the course. It was totally.
What drew you to Japanese?
Well, I'd been into Japan in '85, and I came back after a month trip, and I said, I'm coming back. I love this. I just wanted to be back. So I already had this motivation to be back, and it was when I came back the second time that I hired a private tutor, and sweet Mrs. Mitsuhashi, and she got me up to speed with opening my mouth.
Oh.
And then, as I say in the book, my mother-in-law was very encouraging, and it was really speaking to her that the language, the communication kicked in, and I wanted to communicate, and did.
Mm-hmm.
And being a journalist, I knew that my opportunities were dependent on me being able to interview in Japanese.
Oh.
So it took many years. I would say it took 10 years, but I was there 30 years. So and I got 20 good years out of the Japanese.
Can we hear what it sounds like a little bit? You speak in Japanese?
ちょっと日本語喋りましょうか.
What does that
What did you
mean?
say?
I said I can speak a little. Do you want? Shall I speak in?
It's amazing. Such a hard language.
私の名前はLianeです. My name is Liane. 今はnow the language is going.
Yeah.
私 God, I was saying I want to live. I live in Haifa. 私は Haifa に住んでいます. And what I just said is, I, Haifa, live in.
Oh, that's the way it's.
So you understand, it's like
Different grammar.
it's a completely different grammar, and if I'm trying to translate the languages, it's not
Do you
so.
also write in Japanese?
No, I could write the simple scripts, but not the kanji.
Is Japanese also characters like Chinese? Is
Yeah.
one like
That's
horizontal
the
and one
kanji.
vertical?
That's
Or?
the kanji. Yeah, it goes both ways, depending on if it's a book, it's usually down. And across. Now my kids can't. Yes.
I'm just curious to know whether there's any widespread knowledge of the work that the Japanese did to save the yeshivas in World
The
War
Mir
II.
Yeshiva,
Yes.
and that was Sugihara, of course. There's 3 or 4 museums now in Japan dedicated to Sugihara. One in Tokyo, one in Kamakura, and one or maybe 2 in Tokyo, and one in his hometown in Gifu Prefecture.
We have some books downstairs in the children's and
Yes.
Really?
No, but he was really rejected. He was spurned during his lifetime. It was terrible. The Japanese